Is on every channel. They think we stupid like the truth is just too hard to handle. But on your camo, it's in everything like it's Seattle. And they want anyone who's fighting to be dead and canceled. They want rainbows in the classrooms and 15 different bathrooms and white guys that hate black dudes. They want war, they don't want peace. They want fentanyl in our streets. They want borders to be weak. I swear the devil lives in California. He a politician. He passing bills that bring chaos and division. Yeah, the devil lives in California. Should be in prison. He got horns, but he tries to keep them hidden. Cause the devil is a Democrat. And we don't.
Okay. So how are we doing this morning? Usually I do not do my podcast early in the morning, but since I didn't sleep all night, I was literally up all night doing podcasts so that I had so many scheduled for the next few days that I didn't have to worry if I slack off and don't want to do them for a couple of days. So what I did was I scheduled them all to come out at a certain time. Like there's one that's going to come out today. I messed up. There's two that are coming out tomorrow. I messed that up. It was supposed to be one tomorrow and then one the next day. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a podcast today and then I am going to make another podcast after that so that the weekend is pretty much covered. The only thing is that the next thing I happen to talk about on my next podcast is going to be about famous people. I'm going to be talking about famous people, especially Britney Spears. I've been saying I'm going to cover her for a while, and I am going to cover her after this segment. When I finish this segment, set it up and schedule it for when it's going to come out. Then I'm going to do another one, and that's going to be her. And we'll go from there. And then if I end up feeling like doing podcasts over the weekend, then I might do some more and just kind of keep scheduling them and letting them release on the days or whatever. Because sometimes I run out of stories because I don't want to be like everybody else that consistently talks about the same thing over and over and over and over again. Like when you watch the news and like the government shutdown happened, when you turn on the news, we all knew the government was shut down. We knew why the government was shut down, but every single day they were telling us the same exact story. And yeah, it was the Democrats. It's the Democrats. Yeah, we know, we get it. It's the Democrats. Let's talk about something different. So I just don't like to do that. So if I bring up a bunch of stuff and I do a whole podcast on these things, I like to go to different stories and do different things about stuff. So yeah, I do a few of the government shutdown. I talk about it in other in other videos and whatever, but not so much, and kind of just keep it moving. I want it to be newsworthy. I want every day you hear something new, and that's the goal. So today, what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about two things. First, there's this guy, his name is Myron, and I actually like him. I agree with mostly pretty much everything he says, except for the Israel and Palestine situation. I don't agree with him on that whatsoever, but I have a few videos that I want you to listen to, and then we'll discuss what you think about it. But before I do that, we're going to discuss the wonderful and amazing Mom Donnie. Yes. So we're going to discuss him. And while I'm using my soundboard, I cannot wait to get my new one. I'm so excited for it. It has so much extra stuff that I need, and that would work perfect for this podcast. This is beautiful right here, what I have, but it doesn't have enough stuff. This one I'm getting has everything you can think of, and I can do just about everything on it. and it's great. So I can't wait to get that. And it was about $80 without the microphone. If I didn't have a microphone, it would have been like over $100 and some dollars. So I'm getting a really good one. Both of these are really good, actually. I mean, I spent a pretty penny on this setup as well, but the newer one that I'm getting is a tad more than this one when it includes the microphone. But just the sound box is about $80. Okay. So let's see. We are gonna start with, here we go. We're gonna start with the awesome Charlie Kirk. Let's have Charlie Kirk take it away and let him tell you this is what he feels about Zohran Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani, a radical socialist, is poised to win the Democrat primary in New York and become the likely next mayor of New York City. He wants to send social workers to crimes that are police officers. He's super weak on crime, which will make New York a very dangerous city, even more dangerous than it is right now. He wants the city to take over grocery stores, which is such an asinine, lunatic, insane idea. It's hard to even put it into words. More than anything else, though, he is a resentment-driven candidate who is going to try to promise the world utopia, and the result will be higher taxes, more dangerous cities, successful people will leave. Be careful what you vote for. Be careful what you wish for, because New York City has already been going down the toilet, and this guy will give it a push right off the cliff.
And he is 100% right. 100% right. And what I mean by that is I'm going to read you, it's pretty long, but I'm going to summarize it at the best. Well, actually, we have plenty of time, so I could read most of it. But I'm going to read you what he promised you. And the funny thing is, he promised you all these things and didn't want any money. And then as soon as he was elected, what did he do? The first thing he said was, I need some money. Yeah. You told everybody don't give the Democrats money, don't give anybody money, blah, 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 this and that. And then what do? As soon as you get elected, you're asking the people for money. So what does that tell you? That you people are stupid and you heard, oh, I'm getting everything for free. He's going to do this and he's going to do that. And I'm going to have to not pay for this and this and this and that. You're stupid. Nothing is for free. There is nothing in this world that is free. Okay. It just doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. And you should be smart enough to know that. But these liberals out here are so stupid. They just, oh, he said it. It must be true. And New York is going down the shitter. So I have this article that I am going to read, and this is basically what he was going to do. Average rent for one bedroom apartment in Manhattan is, is $4,700 and change, and a nearly 20% increase from 3 years prior, according to apartment listings and Rent Hop. And in Brooklyn, the average one bedroom apartment is $3,600 and about 5% increase on Rent Hop. One of the most talked about points in Mamdani's housing plan is to freeze the rent for 4 years on the city's 1 million rent stabilized apartments. Quote, this city is where 1 in 4 of its people are living in poverty. And I'm sorry, my phone went off again. Where was I? Poverty. A city where 500,000 kids go to sleep hungry every night, Mamdani told BBC over the summer. And ultimately, it's a city that is in danger of losing that which makes it so special. But researchers at Maverick Real Estate Partners argue that 4-year rent freezes would be catastrophic for many building owners, permanently reducing their net operating income. So basically, what is being said here is that the normal landlord that isn't a millionaire that just happens to put his money into this building or into this specific apartment will end up being screwed by the very thing that he wants to do, which is freezing rent. That would then hurt the middle class people that are just trying to make it by. And these aren't people that have $1 million properties and they're renting them out and whatever, and they can afford a little hiccup here or there. These are just normal, regular people. Like if I were to put this house up for rent, I would be a regular, normal person putting this house up for rent, and you would be freezing rent so that my tenants wouldn't pay. And then I can't afford where I live, and I can't afford to keep the house that I rent because nobody's paying me any money. Like, does that make fucking sense to you? Come on now. I thought this was only supposed to affect the rich. It doesn't. It's a fucking lie. One of his more novel ideas is creating a network for city owned grocery stores across New York's 5 boroughs, expanding on the city owned stores. Shopping in such shops would be cheaper for customers. But critics have argued that Mamdani's proposal ignores complex logistical realities of the food supply chain. He also wants to make public buses free. The current fare for most riders is $2.90, and he plans to make them faster. While Mamdani has estimated that his plan would cost the city $30 million a year, the chair of the MTA told the Gothamist website that it would be closer to $1 billion. Also, Mamdani's agenda is lowering the cost of childcare, citing the expenses of friends who have told him they are leaving the city due to the high cost. To help pay for his plans, Mamdani wants to raise the corporate tax rate to 11.5%, matching the top end of New Jersey's range. The corporate tax rate in New York City goes up to 7.25%. Okay, this is insane. You can't have free buses. It doesn't work that way. Because if people aren't paying to ride the bus, then how are the bus drivers getting a paycheck if the MTA isn't making money? If the MTA isn't making money, then they can't afford to pay the bus drivers to drive the bus. So then there will be no more bus rides because they're not going to be able to get paid. MTA is going to lose a shit ton of money, and it's not going to work out. So there's that. And to help pay for his plans, Mamdani wants to raise the corporate tax rate 11.5%, matching the top end of New Jersey's range, and the corporate tax rate in New York is currently goes up to 7.25%. He also wants to add a 2% tax for New Yorkers who make more than $1 million a year. The campaign said these hikes would raise $9 billion, but how they would be raised remains a question. Kathy Hochul, the governor of the wider New York state, has also said she won't support the new mayor's plan to increase taxes on the wealthy. Mamdani wants to raise the city's minimum wage currently from $16.50 an hour up to $30 an hour by 2030. But critics have argued that it would put many lower skilled workers out of work and force them out of the city. So now the governor who backed him is now going, no, you can't do that. I'm not going to allow that. Well, why would you back him then? Why did you back him like you were down for everything he said? Because he didn't hide it. He said all this stuff when he was campaigning. So why did you put all your eggs in his basket? And then when he says, let's do what I said about the buses, now you want to be like, oh no. See, this is the thing with Democrats. They talk a lot of shit, but they never back it the fuck up. And you know what? A lot of politicians do that. A lot of politicians say what you want to hear, and just so you get they get your vote and whatever, and you go, okay, I want this and that. This is where you have to be smart and you have to research these things and not just go by what is being said. You have to look up, is that something that could possibly happen? And if it happens, how does it affect other people? Now, all the millionaires that live in New York that he wants to tax more, all they have to do is pack their shit up and leave and go to Texas, Florida, wherever, North Carolina, whatever. They can pack their shit up and leave. And then once all the rich people leave New York, then where you get the money from? That's right. You get the money from the middle class. Yeah, that's a big slap in the face. Now, the middle class has to pay triple the taxes because of all the things that you promised and that you wanted to do that you were going to charge all these millionaires for. And they're up and leaving because they don't, why wouldn't they? If I had millions and millions of dollars and I was getting ass raped, I would 100% leave, especially if I was, an entrepreneur and I had all these businesses. I was getting people jobs, and, I had, all kinds of stuff going on, and I was putting people in great positions, and then you're going to raise the minimum wage to $30 an hour for these people, and then that comes out of their pockets, and it makes it harder for them to pay their workers, and they lose most of their fortune paying all this extra stuff. No fucking way. I don't blame a millionaire for being like, no, fuck that. Millionaires already pay 1% of the 1% taxes. They do pay more than everybody else already. How much can you keep taxing them? But yet you want all these famous people and all this stuff on your side. And what's funny is they are. All these rich people vote for Democrats and everything, when Democrats, all they talk about is taking money from all the rich people. They talk about taking money away from all of you. Why would you vote for that? Why wouldn't you vote for the party that's not trying to do that and that's trying to find other ways to generate money so that we can thrive economically and we can charge less taxes, like with the tariffs? We're making money that way, a lot of money. That's why Trump's given $2,000 to everybody. He found loopholes and ways to make it so that everybody gets something. But Democrats don't do that. They just, we're going to take from the wealthy, blah, blah, blah. Or at least that's what they say they're going to do. Because that's the other thing. Because if you think about it, all these rich people vote for Democrats, but if they were really taking all of their money, why would they still be voting for them? It's because they don't take all their money. They say that they're going to, but they don't. And then they need them and they use them to get elected into office. And it's the stupidest shit I ever heard. When they campaign, they always campaign about how they want to take all the money from the rich, which is, I get it, but I also feel for those people because that's bullshit. Because they come up from nothing, they bust their ass, they work every day, they did what they had to do, and they finally made it, and they're making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're donating to charities, and they're building complexes, and they're building buildings and hiring people and construction workers and all kinds of stuff like that. They're giving back, and then you want to take more of their money, supposedly. But what ends up happening is the middle class gets screwed, and that's who ends up paying all the taxes, not the rich. And that's why they keep voting for these stupid ass Democrats, because they know that they're not going to lose money. And that if you vote for Republicans are going to say, okay, you have to give this much money and we're going to take less from the middle class. You pay more. We're going to take less from the middle class. And that's it. And they're not trying to up minimum wage and say it's $30 an hour to have people work for you. They aren't trying to say if you're a landlord and you're not keeping up with, you're not keeping up with maintenance, the government's going to come in and fix all the problems that are wrong with these apartments, and then we're going to bill the landlord. And do you know how much that would probably cost the regular landlord? Thousands of dollars. Where if the landlord fixed it with a private person, construction worker, whatever, they would pay way less. But they want to have the government step in, and then if they don't pay what the government is owed for doing that, then they lose everything. How does that affect the rich people? That doesn't. That affects the middle class. So, okay. This is the other one. Quality of life is another major concern for New Yorkers. Only 34% of them ranked the cities as excellent or good in 2025, down from 51% 2017, according to the survey from the Citizens Budget Commission. A flagship element of Madami's platform is creating a Department of Community Safety, which would expand city mental health services, including a building system for mental health workers to respond to related 911 calls instead of police. Are you fucking kidding me? So I'm getting attacked by a fucking psychopath, and instead of the cops coming, you're gonna send a mental health worker to me instead of a cop who could save my life, and you're gonna have a mental health worker do what exactly? Go, oh, are you okay? Don't, calm down, sir, and whatever. He will kill you and me, bitch. What the fuck are you talking about? That is what the cops are for. But you want to defund the police? You don't want police out there doing their job like they're supposed to do? When there is a serious confrontation, oh, mental health. I'm so sick of everybody using mental health as an excuse for these people to rob you, steal, kill, fucking stab you, blow shit up, whatever the case may be. I'm sick of it because you make people with real mental health issues look crazy, and you make it embarrassing for people to admit that they have mental health issues, because the people that are thrusted into the spotlight that say, I'm transgender and I went into a school and shot up a bunch of Catholic school kids. He has mental health. Okay, no, I think he's just insane And I don't mean that in a mental health way. I mean, it was something he planned to do. It was something on his mind, and I believe he wrote on the bullets. He knew what he was going to do. People that are fucking crazy don't know they're crazy, and they don't know what they're doing is wrong. If that's the fucking case, everybody that shoots a fucking gun off has mental illness. So why don't we start, instead of sending them to jail, why don't we send them into some kind of asylum? Why don't we put them into some kind of mental institution? Because a guy that walks down the street and shoots a woman and takes her fucking purse, that's not mental health, or what? Because anytime a gun goes off or something fucking happens, it's always, it's mental health, it's mental health. Bullshit. Mental health does not make you kill people, okay? There are certain mental health issues that can, like if you're fucking Ed Gein, where he was sent to a mental health hospital for the remainder of his days. Ted Bundy had a mental fucking disorder and they killed his ass. Jeffrey Dahmer had a mental disorder. Those people I considered mentally ill. I don't fucking consider somebody who woke up in the morning, put their socks on, got dressed, and ready to go, and walked out their house and decided to shoot up a fucking school as mental health. That is complete and total fucking bullshit. And a grown ass adult at that. And there's been a lot of trans shootings. Is it mental health? Maybe. Maybe it is mental health. You want to know why? Because maybe the whole trans thing fucks up their head. And that's why they do what they do. They already got mental problems because they think they're women and they're fucking not. And they want to shove it down your throat and make you believe something that is not true for everybody else. Period. I'm sick of everybody using the mental health thing as an excuse to do stupid fucking shit. And I'm getting robbed in the subway by a fucking homeless man, and I'm calling 911, and you send a fucking social worker to to do what? Does she have a gun? Is she even equipped to handle these matters? Shouldn't you be sending psychiatrists, not a social worker? What the fuck is a social worker gonna do? Fucking nothing. Mamdani's Republican opponent, Curtis Sliwa, criticized the plan, saying it's unrealistic and unsafe for social workers to respond to potentially violent situations. Exactly. Hold on, I gotta find the other. Oh, that was it. So that is just absolutely ridiculous, and this is who you voted for. This is exactly what you voted for. Here is Mamdani himself.
I think it's one of the key reasons why we have to make buses free is because it reduces the assaults on bus drivers. It creates a safer work environment.
It creates a safer work environment. I don't really hear too much about bus drivers getting assaulted or anything like that. I mean, maybe once in a blue moon it's happened, but that's not something that I've ever heard of, since I've been watching news and all that stuff, and I've always watched the news. I've never really heard of bus drivers in New York having rough times because people had to pay to get on a bus. And that's what you're saying. Because people have to pay to get on the bus, it's not safe for the bus driver. Well, you know what's not safe for the bus driver? Not being able to support his fucking family because nobody's paying to get on the bus. Therefore, the MTA is not making money, and the MTA can't afford to pay their drivers to drive the buses because they're not making any money. Did you ever think of that? You just offered first of all, you're not even from here, and you're just offering free shit for free shit for everything. Oh, everything's fucking free. It doesn't work like that, and it's not going to work like that. And the governor is an asshole and should have never backed you, because now that she has backed you, she now is under fucking water because all the things you promised you can't make good on because it's impossible to do. And some of the stuff that you're promising, you had no right to promise because you can't do anything about it. Like freezing people's rent and all that stuff. That goes through a whole other fucking system of I don't even know what it's called. But it goes through a whole other system. And it has nothing to do with the mayor or the governor or whoever. That goes through a completely different system. You or he has no authority to go and freeze rent. He has no authority to do it. And he knows that. And I don't know who told him he had that right to do it, but he did. And you dumb motherfuckers sat there and voted for this piece of shit because all you heard was free. Everything is free. And you didn't do any research to see if he could actually go through with these things. Maybe sometimes turn on Fox News. You don't like, and you like CNN and MSNBC and all that bullshit. One day you should turn on Fox News just to see what they say about certain things. Look it up on your phone and say, what does Fox News think about this? And they will tell you. And then go, okay. And then go look it up on top of that. And then you'll see that it was full of bullshit. But no, you gotta vote Democrat because you gotta. And that's just the way it is. And, black people too, free housing, blah, 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 and you feel you must vote Democrat. You don't need to just vote Democrat. Democrat is not the party for you. It's not. You know why Democrats have been for abortion for so long? You know why abortion was even started in the first place? Was to eradicate black babies. They didn't want to be overpopulated with black people, so the abortion started. And they gave hundreds and hundreds of black women abortions so that they could not procreate and make more black people. And then you have the Democrats that support abortion. Think about that. Do you even know that? Do you guys want to talk about history and bring all that shit up? Think about that. The Democrats are not for you. Listen to Malcolm X. Malcolm X knew what the fuck he was talking about. The Democrats played you. They played you. And you fell for it. As a matter of fact, on my next podcast, I'm gonna find quotes from Malcolm X, and I'm going to read them to you and prove to you that you're on the wrong side. I'm not saying you have to be a Republican. You can be an independent. You can be nothing. But I would prefer you not vote if you don't know what the fuck it is you're voting for. Going by words is not, it's not logical. Republican, Democrat, no matter what, they all lie at some point. They all tell lies to get in office. And when they get in office, they fucking do nothing that they say they were gonna do. That's all of them. And honestly, except for Trump. Trump takes care of business. But the difference between Trump and all the others is Trump was a businessman. Trump was not in politics his whole life. He surrounded himself with politicians and things like that, but he was not a politician. He was a regular guy. Well, a regular guy as he could be, being filthy rich, but he was a regular guy who built businesses, and he knows how businesses work, and that's why he makes such a good president, is because he runs it like a business. Everything he does, it's like a chess move. He's strategically does things on purpose to make America great and to make it so that America is making fucking money. Just like you guys complained, oh, the tariffs. Well, we're making lots of money off of those tariffs. Why is it okay that all the other countries charge us tariffs, but we don't charge any of them tariffs? How is that fair? It's not. Logically, think about it. It doesn't. So they get to charge us money for doing them a favor and selling their products over here. We have to pay them for their products being sold here, and we just get screwed. We sell all our stuff over there, and we get nothing. We don't get taxed, nothing. It is what it is. But they charge us extra for their products, but we can't charge extra for our products when they go over there. That doesn't make any fucking sense. And with those tariffs, that's how he was able to get everybody that $2,000 that's coming real soon. And yeah, with that $2,000 that's coming soon, my ass is getting my car back on the road. I'm getting a new tire and hopefully still have money left over. I might even put some new brake pads on the front of my car, and whatever I have left, I have left. And that's about it. If I could, I'd get my dented ass car fixed, but I believe they said that would cost like $1,400. But I guess if I did that, I'd still have money left over. I'd have over 1,000 left over, and even just to get my car back on the road, it would cost like $500 tops, and I would still have an extra 500 left over if I fixed my whole entire car and whatever. But that's not the point. So then I want to go into, you know what, I'm done talking about Mom Donnie actually, because we're already at 45 minutes and I talked about him long enough. So there's this guy, his name, I believe how you say his name is Myron. And he used to be a Border Patrol ICE agent. And he is a guy that is about women being in the kitchen, and he gives feminists a run for their money. And in this situation, I 100% agree with him. But I want to see what you think. So there's 4 parts to this. I'm going to play so long of it, and then I'm going to stop, talk for a minute, play another one, stop, talk for a minute. This show might go a little over an hour, but that's okay. So here's the first part.
A position where they are the dominant and the girls aren't going to fuck you, man.
I'm trying to have one with you.
Like the girls aren't going to fuck you, bro. White knighting is not going to do it.
Okay, hi. Would you like to have an actual conversation?
This is fucking awesome. All right, what are you going to say? Go ahead.
All right, here. I'm here to have an actual debate with you, okay? I'm
Sure.
not here to antagonize you or villainize you. I want to understand you, and I hope maybe you'd want to understand me. Is that okay? I understand, is your viewpoint that women deserve less, or that you think men deserve more?
Well, 2 things can be true, right?
Okay.
So I think guys need to be in a position where they are the dominant and the leader in the relationship.
So I would like to understand why exactly do you think that? Is it what is causing this? Is it like an instinctual thing? Do you think it's based off biology, psychology? The idea that the man should be dominant. What is the backing thought process for this?
Well, it's how society has thrived for centuries. The man is the head of the household. He's a leader. He protects some provisions. And this is how we've been able to build up the society we enjoy now. And it's only with modernity and feminism that women have been able to kind of do the things that they do. But at the end of the day, I would argue most women want a traditional man who's going to be a provider, going to be a protector, and adhere to these traditional masculine traits.
Okay, so let me ask you a question about this, sir, if you don't mind. So
Sure.
Would you say that over time, generally speaking, with how society has come, how culture has come to where we are at this current point, are you content with how the world is today? With society, are you happy with how society has turned out? What exactly, do you have any issues with modern society?
Well, I mean, look, obviously there's pluses and negatives, but I do think that modernity has led to the overall degradation of society. It's because we don't prioritize the family anymore.
So is the issue less that women deserve less, or that we should put more of a focus on traditionalism within the family?
Well, that's kind of the same thing from before. Again, men need to be in a different position now where they need to be able to vet out women properly for them to be their wives. Because the thing that sucks for guys now is that most women want to be married, but they're not necessarily wife material.
Okay. So, right there. Now, eventually, this girl is going to get hostile because they always do. And I agree with him 100%. I believe that the men should take care of the household, take care of the bills and everything, and that the woman should stay home and take care of the kids and cook, clean, whatever. Now, me personally, I am a little bit of a slob, but that's because I'm on my own and I can be. But obviously, if I had a man, I would be different. But I do, clean my room and things like that when I'm ready to. But I believe that women should stay home with the kids. That's what I believe. And feminism has ruined that because now women act too masculine. And that's why men don't want women. That's why you're sitting and home and you're single and you don't know why. I'm single. I know why I'm single because A, I'm picky, and B, right now I've chosen to be celibate, and I'm not just gonna go give it out to anybody and him not want to be with me, him not want to respect me and date me and whatever. I went through that phase where I did the hookup thing and thought something was going to come of it, and it never does. And I can't be with you. I don't want a girlfriend. And then the next day they have a girlfriend. And I'm like, what the fuck did I do that was so wrong? Like, I don't understand. And not for nothing, like, I have a lot going for me, to be quite honest with you. Out of everybody that I know, I am the only one that has a house that is mine. So if my uncle, God forbid, ever passes away, this house I live in with him is mine. And, you being with me, you would have it'd be a huge perk because you come in, all you gotta do is work. You give $400 a month towards rent, and that's it. You're good to go. You're never gonna find a place where I live in New Jersey that you can pay $400 a month in rent and still have plenty of money left over to do your own thing. I have a car. Yes, it's a little beat up right now, but it still drives from point A to point B. It's still a nice car, even though it's a little busted on the side, and I need a new tire, which I'm gonna work on. But it's still a car that can get you from point A to point B. And I know some of the dudes that I've hooked up with or whatever, they don't have that. They can't get that. They don't have a girl that you know if they have a girl that lives with a family member, that house probably doesn't belong to her. And they would not be okay with the guy moving into their house and whatever. Like, no, here I got married, my husband moved into my house with me, my uncle was cool with it, and I had kids with him, and that was that. And then I had to throw him out due to drug addictive behavior, which I could not have in my house with my children. So now I just kind of sit home. I don't go out. I don't mingle. So I haven't even had the opportunity to meet a guy or want to be with a guy because I don't go out anywhere. I don't get to do anything. I just take care of my kids all day and, do play dates and things like that. Women nowadays are so offended by going in and making a sandwich for their man. There is nothing wrong with that. I would cook all the time for my husband. I would clean when he was a way bigger slob than I'll ever be. I used to clean and gut the room and clean and whatever. And that was it. Like right now, cleaning my room, I'm waiting till, what's today? Friday. I ordered that Thursday. So Saturday, I should have my brand new bed sheets. When I get my brand new bed sheets, I'm gutting this entire room, vacuuming it, getting all my kids' toys out of here and all that stuff. And I'm going to have a nice crystal clear room with nice new blankets. And I also ordered another heated blanket, and either I'm going to give depending on how big it is, I got to see, but if depending on the situation, I might give my daughter my old one because it doesn't work as good. So anyway, now I'm going to go to part 2.
Anyway, so yeah, that's what I think it is. Guys need to really focus on the family. Before they can even do that, they need to be able to go in with their eyes wide open with how society is and how we're playing the dating game, because we have more to lose.
Okay, so I understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
I think it makes sense that you would like to have, women would be able to be mothers, would be able to be wives. If a man is being a provider, clearly you would want something in return, right? I mean, like,
yeah, to obey me.
if you want people to hear you out, I don't really think obey would be the best word to use. I mean, like, obey kind of implies that there's a lack of free will and thought. What you think?
Interesting. So you say there's a lack of free will there, but is there, I mean,
with the term obey, like the connotation that it provides when you say the word obey.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I find it interesting that on my end, I'm protecting and providing, and the one thing I ask in return is for her to obey, but that's a problem. See, that's
I didn't say it was a problem.
Because here's the thing. Let's be honest here, right? This is what I mean when I say modern feminism poisons women. Women want a guy who's going to be a protector and a provider and a good man, but if he asks, hey, I need you to obey me in return, she'll say, I don't like that word. Why do I need to obey you? Well, you need to obey me because I'm the one that's responsible for you. So if I'm responsible for you, that means I'm supposed to have authority over you as well.
Well, if you would like to have a conversation without putting words in my mouth where I said that I had a problem with the term, like, obeying people, I just said that if you want other people to agree with you, maybe find a different term that would, kind of incline people to agree.
Listen, you stupid bitch. You are offended because he said obey. And what he means by that is that when he asks you to do something or not go somewhere or tells you to cook a dinner or says, let's have sex right now, you obey him. Why? Because he's providing for you. He's given you a house. He supplies you food. He's possibly given you children. He doesn't cheat on you, and he's giving you everything that makes you feel comfortable. You have a comfortable life. You get your hair done, your nails done. He gives you money for all of that. So the least thing you could do is obey him and not be an evil, spiteful, nasty bitch to him like some women are. They get these guys and they just treat them like shit. And he's talking about you obeying him. Not in the sense of, sir, what can I do for you, sir? Should I bend down on my knees, sir? That's not what he means by obey, but that's how you're taking it. You're taking it as he means obey in the sense of you have to do every single thing he fucking says, when that's not the case. Obeying him on a certain level, doing things for him. If he asks you for something, you do. If he asks you, can you get me a glass of water? Sure, babe, no problem. Can you cook me this one meal that I really like that you made the other night? I really like. Yeah, sure, no problem, babe. That's what he means by obey your husband. Okay, he does things for you, and you obeying him, you do things for him. Obviously, those things have to be reasonable, not something, ridiculous. But like, if he's like, hey, babe, you know what? I kind of want you to suck my dick tonight. Okay, he deserves it. He's paying for everything. Whatever. Suck his dick. If you want to take it a step further and say, well, I'll suck your dick if we can have sex or you return the favor. There you go. You can negotiate. just as long as you obey. But if you're gonna go, oh, I'm going out with the girls tonight. No, you're not. I don't like you going out with the girls. Oh well, fuck you, too bad. I'm going out with the girls tonight so you can kiss my ass. Peace. That's not obeying your husband. It's a partnership. He does all the main things. He takes care of the house. He mows the lawn. He takes out the garbage. He puts oil in your car. He bought you a car. He pays all the bills in the house. He helps with the kids when he gets home. Sometimes, whatever. It's a partnership. He does all of that for you. You can't do the one little thing and obey him. I would love to have a guy that was like, obey me, because I like when a guy takes control. I like that. I don't want no wussy fucking guy that, is just a little pussy and I can walk all over him. I don't want a man like that. I want a man that is a real manly man, and he asserts himself in a certain way, and he does things for me. I'll do things for him.
Secondly,
Well, that's the problem. People are too soft. That's the truth. We need women to obey us.
says the guy who's here complaining about women.
No, I said women need to obey men. I'm saying the problem is that we have this society where people just don't want to be honest and say what it is.
But I'm being honest and telling you that people don't like the word obey.
Okay, well,
Okay.
like,
well,
I
people
find
don't
it
like
interesting, right? So a lot of people think I just talk smack to women all the time, but I actually talk more smack. Anyone that watches the show, I actually talk more smack to men. I
Oh,
tell them to
that's
not
so
be
jealous
fat,
of you.
not to be losers, not to be dorks. Like, I bully the guys so that they become better. And men kind of accept this. But when we say we want something in return, women don't want to follow it. So it's like women have one job and they don't even want to do that.
Well, have you considered that maybe women don't want your help?
The thing, I'm here to help the guys out because they're the leaders. So
Well, that's fine, but
I'm very familiar with the fact that, like, women, like, if they hear a certain word, they get triggered and they can't listen to anything else. But again, that's an inherent flaw in women. If you're in a relationship with a guy and he's doing what he's supposed to do, protect and provide for you, you need to obey him.
so wait, okay, you have a problem with women being overly emotional, yet you want them to be providers to children. That implies that there needs to be some type of emotional nurture there. So is the problem that women are too emotional, or that they're not emotional enough?
No, what I'm talking about is in this context where the term obey immediately triggered you.
I'm not triggered.
Okay.
Do I look angry?
No, well, you didn't like that term. You're like, hey, well, maybe you can use a different word. It's like, no, that's what it is, obey.
I didn't say that. I was bothered by the word. I was just trying to give you some advice that maybe other people would be more inclined to listen if you didn't come off so authoritative.
Well, I think that's important where we're at a crazy point right now where we just got to start being honest and not tone police and worry about certain phrases triggering people. The truth hurts a lot of the times, but this is what we need to do. We've gone so far left that we're going to need a significant overcorrection. Sometimes that means using words that people might find offensive.
Okay. So, all right, I understand what you're saying, that we shouldn't, be so protective, right?
Yeah, another thing too with
Protect women, so you don't want them to be protective.
No, what I'm saying is that with men, right? When I say the term obey, guys just get it. They don't get offended by. This is actually a phenomenon I've noticed only with women. Like when I tell guys stuff and I speak very direct, they don't care. They just consume the information. Okay, that makes sense, and move on. They're not really too concerned with how it's said or the terms that are used. But with women, a lot of the times, if I don't use certain terms or speak in a certain tone, they get offended and can't take in the information. And I think if women were a bit more receptive to the direct nature of the things I say, they'd be a lot better off because I'm very honest about it.
It sounds like men tend to obey you more than women.
I mean, if they listen to what I say, they'll probably do pretty well in life, yeah.
If you want someone to obey you, why don't you just go with guys?
That's a good one.
I'm just a genuine question. Why do you care so much about women if, like, the men are listening to you just as is? You're trying to do a thing for the men, right? Do them a favor, help them out. Women aren't asking you for any help.
Yeah, no.
What he's saying is he's giving men advice about women by telling them what they deserve and what should happen in a relationship with a woman. So when he's like, yeah, you're being a fucking pussy, you're being weak, and you need to be more assertive and things like that, men don't take that as, oh my God, like you said that to me. Like you took obey and was like, don't you think you could have said something nicer? But what other word could I possibly use other than obey? I guess I could say women should do what I say. Is that any better? I mean, what the fuck? Men are not as sensitive as women. That's the difference. And you're sitting up there, with your fucking attitude and your feminist attitude and you're acting like, oh, obey is such a bad word and it's such a terrible thing. It is not a terrible thing. It is how the world worked for hundreds and hundreds of years. Women married men, they stayed home, provided for the family, and that is it. The men did everything. The men worked, the men hunted, the men, sometimes depending on the meal, prepared meals while the women prepared the rest of the meals. And the women took care of the kids and whatever. And even if the man was out cheating on the woman never left. The main chick never left, and she stayed and did what she had to do. And if she knew about it, she'd be heartbroken and ask why he would do this to her and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But she would never leave. And that's this guy had on his podcast one time that men are promiscuous. They're born that way. They are meant to be that way. They are meant to sleep around with other women. Even though it might hurt you and piss you off or whatever the case may be, but they're meant to sleep around. But the thing with men is that men don't have emotional connections to these women that they're sleeping with. It's literally just what it is, sex. And then they get up, they leave, and they go about their way. They don't cuddle and hug and kiss and all that stuff. I mean, unless you're having like a full-blown affair and you find out you really love that person, whatever, but that's rare. They get up, they do what they got to do, and they go home to their wife. Most men, when it comes down to having a side chick, the side chick says, I want you to leave your wife. You have to leave your wife. The man never leaves their wife. There is probably, I want to say, 1% of men leave their wives for the other woman that they're with. And I've witnessed that in my family, where my family member was cheated on for years. And at a very young age, I knew right away because I was raised differently. I was more mature for my age. I knew things that I probably should not have known when I was, that age, which, turned me into the woman I am today, where I am a very jaded woman as far as relationships go. And I knew when I was 10, 11, 12 years old that my family member my uncle was cheating on my aunt, and I knew it. And my cousin was the same age as me, and she didn't know it, and they would be fighting all the time, whatever. And she knew I knew something, and I had told her what the deal was. And I said, look, your dad is definitely with this other woman. And this is the 1% where he did actually leave eventually my aunt to then be with the woman he cheated on her with. And they've been together for years now. Everybody's cool. We all go out to dinners and stuff together. And, it's everything is peachy keen and cool now, but it wasn't back then. But men have no emotion when it comes to sex. And he said, you're stupid if you leave your man because he cheated on you. And at first the girl was like, wait, what? No, what the fuck? But he came back to you. You're who he loves. He just fucked somebody else. But and this was on the same show, if I went and fuck somebody else, it's completely different for me. And the guy would end up leaving, my husband or whoever would end up leaving me, because he knows that for me, as a woman, having sex with another man is emotional, because we're emotional creatures. So when we have sex with a man, it means something. we really like them. They made us feel some type of way, or else we never would have done it. And that goes for all women. All women. If you've ever cheated on a guy in your life, the guy that you cheated with, you had some kind of feelings for either before or after, or you always had a feeling for him. You just didn't act on it at one point because, your man was always around or whatever. But when you had that one time alone and whatever, you gave it up. So women can't cheat because it's different for us to cheat because it's emotional and it means something. Where a guy can go and stick his dick in 5 different bitches and never talk to them again and not give 2 fucks about them. And then the only time they get stuck is when they fuck one of them and get them pregnant. Then that's a whole different fucking ball game. But he says you're dumb if you leave your husband for cheating on you because it didn't mean anything what he did. Now, granted, should he have done it? Absolutely fucking not. No way. He betrayed your trust. He shouldn't have done it. But are you willing to throw your whole life away on this situation where he may never see that girl ever again because it was just a random fuck that he had one night that didn't mean anything to him? You're willing to throw your whole life away for that one indiscretion that he had that absolutely didn't mean anything to him at all? That was one of his questions. And he said, you're stupid if you do that. Because men, by nature, are promiscuous. They fuck. Not all men do this, so don't get me wrong. There are good men out there who would never cheat on their wives or their spouses or whatever, and that's great. But there's a difference between cheating with a girl and cheating with guys. It's 2 different things. And in my situation, if you cheated on me once, I would take you back. I would be mad as fuck. You'd have to grovel for a little while, but I would take you back. But if it was something you continuously did, then I would have to cut you off regardless, because it's obvious that you don't want to be in a relationship, and it wouldn't even be about, oh, do you love this girl or nothing like that. It would just be like, you don't want to be in a relationship. If you really wanted to be in a relationship with me and loved me and cared about me, you wouldn't be fucking other girls. Am I not good enough in bed for you? What, I don't do everything for you? What is it? Blah, blah, blah. So, okay, here's the rest of the story.
That's why I focus on the guys, because they're not emotionally
Then why are
triggered.
you here talking about women?
Because that is a big obstacle that a lot of guys can't fix.
Then why are you trying to fix it?
Because if we don't have women, we don't have the nuclear family, and a lot of guys struggle with this. Now, here's the thing. I understand that you might be in a privileged position where dating and getting men to court you isn't that hard, but for average guys, it's not that easy. So
Well,
a
I
lot
don't
of guys
need
need to
anyone
learn
to
this
court
stuff.
me. I'm not looking for that. There's more to my life than worrying about what the other sex does.
Okay, well, you have that privilege since you're a woman and the men come to you. But
They
men
don't
need to
come
figure
to
this
me.
stuff out.
I came to you to talk to you.
Again.
Did you come to me? I don't think so.
No, but this is us having a discussion here. What I'm saying is that, like, you're maybe
What?
like a 3 or 4. Right? Then a guy that's like a 7 or an 8, you're going to have more options than an average guy. So for you, right, you're getting an abundance of options, whereas guys are not going to get that same level. So, and the other thing, too, with women is women are just simply better at dealing with opposite gender. Men need to learn this stuff. Guys don't kind of come out understanding female nature. They have to learn this stuff either through someone teaching them or
I don't
through
think I took a
losses.
crash course on how men work.
I'm sorry?
I didn't take a crash course on how men work. Why do men need to take a crash course on women?
Because men, here's the thing, men have to build up the attraction and approach the women. They're the ones that got to make things happen. Women don't. You guys are in a privileged position where the men just come to you.
So you
But,
guys are stupid, basically.
I mean, if that's the conclusion you're going to come to, I
No,
guess.
that was a question. That wasn't a conclusion. It was a question.
No, it's a learned skill that they need to develop to learn how to properly deal with women. So
Why
that
do
they
you need to
don't
learn
end up-
how to deal with
See,
people?
like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I teach guys to avoid women like you, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Stay away
Yeah,
from me.
yeah, well, I don't know. You should be in the kitchen somewhere, but it's fine. We'll have this discussion. Yeah, the reality is, what was that? Yeah, so I
I've
can't
not
cook either.
insulted you once this entire time.
See, this is precisely the problem. Combative, assertive women that, don't want to necessarily obey or know when to, be quiet when I'm making
Who
a
the
point.
fuck are you to tell me to obey you?
Who's
You're
really
a
pissed?
woman. I don't need to obey.
Like, see how she acts all tough and who the fuck do you, whatever. And she's acting, That's why you don't have a man, bitch. Because of those, because of that right there. You're having a debate. You don't need to have a fucking attitude. And the bitch had an attitude since she walked up to the mic. You act like that. Men don't want you because you're nasty. You don't have a good personality. And if you saw her,
Hey,
which
you.
I
I'm not
don't,
in a relationship with
I don't know. Some of you might be listening to my podcast and not viewing it on Spotify. But if you can see on my screen, that's what she looks like. That's the problem. Very combative, very just wanting to cause an argument. And women like that will never find a true man because no man wants to deal with that shit. They say one word. What do you mean by that? Well, I just want to know what you mean by that because you said that I didn't like your tone. Your tone, and going on and on and on and on and on. And then, women also acting masculine themselves. Men do not want a masculine woman. Men want women. If they wanted to be with masculine, they would be gay. They don't want to be with a masculine woman who's fucking doing all kinds of fucking stupid shit and talking back and fucking every word the guy says, it's like an attitude from the girl. Like, what does that mean? But I don't need you. I could do this on my own. I could do that on my own. I know how to do. No. If you want a guy to court you and like you need to have a good personality. You need to be nice. You need to be sweet. If there's things that you can do, like opening a pickle jar, but just to make the man feel good, you go, oh, babe, you know what? I can't open this. Can you open this for me, baby? And he pops it right open, even though you could have done it, but you make him feel manly that he needs your help or you need his help. Oh, babe, I really need you to fix this for me. I don't know how to build this vanity set and I could really use your help. Oh, no problem, babe. I'll do that for you. Men want to feel appreciated. Men do not want masculine women fucking, I don't need you to do this. I can do this by myself. I don't need you. What do I need a man for? All I need a man for is to spend his money. I just want to go out to 5-star restaurants and shit like that. That's where you better take me because that's where I deserve to go, okay? I don't need a man for shit. I can do this all by myself. All I need a man for is if I want to have a baby. And then once I have that baby, you can kiss your ass goodbye. I don't give a fuck about you. Men don't want women like that. Men want submissive women, period. Like, I'm a submissive woman to a certain extent. There are certain things where I'm not submissive, but you wouldn't know that until you've dated me for a very long time. And that would mean like certain things, like my vanity in my bedroom. I put together all by my fucking. Would it have been nice to have a guy do it for me? Yes, but I can do it by myself. I'm not gonna brag about, oh, I can build all this stuff by myself, whatever. Even though I know I could do it, I'd go, hey babe, is there any way you could build this vanity for me? I don't think I can do it. And there you go. Now your man's building your vanity for you and he feels good because he did something for you. Men do not want masculine women. And feminist women have become mannish and they have totally ruined it for other women because men think all women are like that now because of feminism and everything else. I'm never going to find a girl that's going to cook and clean for me, like with all this shit going on. I'm never going to find a woman who wants to have kids with me because all these bitches out here are fucking getting abortions left and right and they don't give a fuck about what the father has to say about the abortion. If I wanted to have the kid, she's gonna say it's my body, my choice, and kill my fucking baby. You know, things like that. Oh, I want to marry this girl. I get her a ring. That ring's not big enough. You think I'm marrying you with this small ass ring? Where'd you even get it from? Friggin' and not be appreciative that he got you a ring in general, even if it was from fucking Walmart. Who cares? If my man proposed to me with a ring, where of course it would at least have to be a white gold ring with a little diamond in it, or there is a cute ring on TikTok. It's like it's a copy of Taylor Swift's ring. It's $77. I'm thinking about buying it for myself. It's a huge ring. It's beautiful. And he brought me home a ring like that. I would be so excited and so happy, even if it costed $77. And then if he was like, babe, I promise you in the next couple of years, I'm going to get you a real diamond ass ring and whatever, I would be like, okay, it's up to you, whatever. I don't care. I love what you got me. But, you know, that's that. Women are so ungrateful, so unappreciative, and they're so combative, and they just don't know their place anymore. And there's nothing wrong with your place being at home, raising a family, and taking care of your household and taking care of your man. There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing. I think those are the most powerful women ever because they're smart as hell. They know everything that's going on. They're in tune with everything. And the better you take care of your man, the less you have to worry about that man going astray. You treat your man like shit and masculine and all fucking, you know, I'm gonna do this and and there's always lip whatever. Yeah, they're gonna go find somewhere else and someone else, and that girl might be the girl that does everything you don't do and doesn't act the way that you act. And then you're gonna go, oh, why? You love her, you cheated on me with her, you love her. And that 1% might be like, yeah, I do love her. She don't do me like you do me. Here's the rest.
I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I don't need to obey you.
Well, you're just kind of just talking over me when I make my point or answer your questions or trying to, you know, instigate some type of reaction, which is cool. I think it's funny. It's interesting. But
aren't you instigating a reaction by being here on a campus with people who are more or less going to have different...
Well, I'm just telling the uncomfortable truth that a lot of people don't want to hear.
So it's okay for you to be instigative and combative whenever you want to share your truth, but when someone wants to give another side of the truth, you want them to be quiet and you think that they aren't obeying you.
Yes, because
Yes, actually, this is the best one. Everything I just said. What did I just say? And did you hear what the fuck she just said? You go make your own fucking sandwich and why da 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 da. That is why you don't have a man. That right there. That right there. Because you're too good to go make a sandwich for your man. You're too good to keep your household together. You're too good for that. That is what I'm talking about. And you get combative and you start yelling and screaming and all of this stuff. And it didn't even need to be like that. You could have simply asked him a question and said, what do men not like about women? And what can women do to change that? And he would have said, obey your man. Okay, what does that entitle? Cooking, cleaning, blah, 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 taking care of the kids, blah, 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 all that stuff. Okay, great. You know, what other roles does the woman have to play? Can she talk back? Do you know anything like that? Like, does she have an opinion? Not talk back. Is she able to have opinions? Are you able to have conversations with each other so you know where each other stands every day? And, you know, you figure out your relationship every day to make it stronger and things like that. That's what she should have been asking. That's how she should have came about it when he said, to listen, to obey. That's how she should have approached that situation. Instead, she approached the situation hostile and ready to fight, and her feminism is showing, and it's ridiculous. Honestly, feminism has ruined absolutely, and that's basically it for that. And I'm gonna wrap this segment up in a couple of minutes because I'm already over an hour and 30 minutes. Feminism has ruined women, and in a way it has also ruined men, because men expect women to be one way, and with feminism they've completely changed into something completely different. And now it's, talking about wet ass pussy and suck my ass and whatever, give me your credit card and all your money and fucking, I'ma suck your dick and this and that and all this other shit. Feminism has totally ruined relationships and people getting married. That's why marriage isn't a big thing as it used to be. Like, to me, marriage was a deal for me. When I wouldn't have kids until I got married. I was having sex at 14 years old. I still remember who I lost my virginity to, and honestly, still love the kid to this day. He's one of my best friends, but I still love him. If he was like, I want to be together, let's be together. I'll fly up from Florida and I'll come live with you. I would 100% be like, yeah, okay, let's go. But if he doesn't, it doesn't matter because we're still friends. So we have that relationship where we're friends, but we can also cross the line. And even if we cross the line and it doesn't work, we can still be friends. But I lost my virginity to that guy, and I was promiscuous throughout my teen years. I had my share of guys. Now, I'm not disgusting. I can count how many guys I have slept with, and I know every single fucking name of every single guy I slept with. And not many people can fucking do that. But if I had a piece of paper next to me and I sat by myself in my room, I could list every single guy I've ever been with in my life. And it's not a lot because most of them I hooked up with multiple times. So it wasn't like I hooked up with 30 different guys at different times. I hooked up with one guy and then I would hook up with him for 6 months, and then I'd hook up with a different guy and I'd hook up with him for 6 months. Then I'd go back to the other guy and hook up with him for another couple months. Then I'd have a boyfriend and then I would hook up with him for long, and whatever. All of my hookups and semi relationships I've had with guys, they have all been done long term, like years I've messed with them. So like the guy I lost my virginity to, no matter who he was with, he always came back to me, and me and him would always end up sleeping together. And the girls that he was with would never believe it, and I would, because we'd all get into fights and I would blow up the spot to piss them off, and they would act like I just made it up, and which they should have known because they were best friends with me, and I told them about mine and Pete's relationship and how we always were. And then my best friend ended up dating him, and I tell her I slept with him and she didn't believe me. Why wouldn't you believe me when I've told you that that's what he does? He gets girlfriends and then sees me, and when he has the opportunity, he has sex with me. So you're stupid. Like, that's constant. And then if I were with the guy Like, I loved my first. Don't get me wrong. I loved him to death. But the guy that I fell in love with, so in love with, that when he told me that he had to stop messing with me for a minute, I dropped to my knees and I bawled my eyes out, and I never had done that before. I couldn't even breathe. And I felt like somebody had just ripped my heart out of my chest. But me and him kept getting back together, back together, back together. And my ex would get jealous if he knew I was going to see him, even though he still had a girlfriend who was my best friend. And he would get jealous and be like, oh, don't answer, don't go see him, blah, 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 stay with me, blah, blah, blah. And then the other guy I was talking to, who had a girlfriend as well, but he kept lying about it, he knew that I was with my ex, and he kept calling me, and he was like, I want you to come over to my house. Why are you with him? Blah, blah, blah. And he was getting jealous because I was with my ex. And I'm like, hold on. You came to this party with your supposed ex-girlfriend, flaunted her around in my face. Now you guys went your separate ways, and I'm driving, my person somewhere, and you want to act like you're jealous and you own me, and that I should just jump for you, and things like that. Like, that was all then. But I always practiced safe sex. I never wanted to have babies out of wedlock. I never, ever, ever did. And then I met the guy that I thought was going to be it for me. And we got engaged and then married. I got pregnant right after I got married. And then we broke up for a while. And then couple years down the road, we ended up getting pregnant again, and I had Paige, but I was still married. And then he had to go because it was a problem. But the whole thing is you gotta stop acting like men and start acting like females. And I even need to take my own advice too at some point, because there's times where I come off like manly, and I, can do things that other girls can't do, and things like that. And some guys may find that attractive, but some guys don't. And I'm learning to tone that down if I have to. And now that I am into Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, and Charlie Kirk has showed me the way, I am not giving any guy any part of me, any nookie whatsoever, because I am not getting in deep with somebody like that unless they actually want to date me. If you want to bring me out to dinner, and we go out to dinner quite a few times, and after about a week or so, you say, I want you to be my girlfriend, and whatever, you're buying me stuff, whatever, then that is different. But there will be no more one night stands, none of that. And all girls should do that. And somebody should teach them to do that, especially in high school, where most teen pregnancies happen. I have not had sex in an entire year. The last time I had sex was on my birthday. My birthday is now Sunday. It's the 16th. I have not had sex at all, and I don't plan to. I was supposed to go out tonight with my girlfriend, but we couldn't find babysitters, so I can't. Well, I have people to watch my kids. It's just she doesn't have people to watch her kids. So therefore, I can't go out and like mingle and like meet somebody. But I would love to. Then, they also have dating apps where I'm thinking about trying a dating app and seeing what's good out there and trying to find somebody decent that has their head on their shoulders, who makes money. And I'm not talking about being a gold digger and all kinds of stuff like that. I just want a guy that makes a good amount of money a year, that he makes maybe 70,000 a year, maybe 75,000 a year. If he makes 60, that's okay. But my goal would be 75,000 a year. If he makes up more than that, that's great. But I would like that. And would I ever up and move if he was like, let's get our own place, blah blah blah? I would definitely tell him, no, let's build onto this house and make extra rooms and whatever, and let's just stay here because it'll cost us less money. Or if he really wanted to move, I'd say, okay, well, then let's get a house in Florida. And I would take my uncle with me and we'd get a decent place and maybe a place that has a guest house or whatever. And he can stay in the guest house and then we'd have the house for the kids and everything would be perfectly fine. That is a goal. But none of these feminist women want things like that. And they ruin it for girls like us all the time. And it's ridiculous. Just stop. So that is going to be the show for today. We talked about Mamdani and we talked about feminism and how men feel. I am going to put up here where is it? Right now, if you are sending me emails and I haven't gotten back to you, it's because Google keeps like kicking me off of it, saying that there's something wrong with the email. I don't know, they're making it a problem that I have this email and they keep saying some bullshit that I don't understand. And I'm like, I have 4 different emails. There's people that have 20 emails. Why is it a big deal that this is my email? And I explained to them that this is strictly for my podcast and I can't give out my real email address because I don't need people having that information. So I made up a new one so that people can send in their questions, or if they want to be a part of the show, or if they want to debate on the show. I need this address, what's it called? I need this email so that I can continue to do that. Not that I've gotten any questions yet, which I'm actually really surprised considering I've had over 30 people watch my videos and like 28 streams, which is probably more. That was like old. And then I actually got 3 followers. I'm surprised out of all the people that watch those videos that not one person has had a question or asked to be a part of the show or wanted to come on to debate anything. It's shocking, but it's okay because it's still in the early stages of me doing this. So I'm gonna give it time. Eventually it'll build traction and I will be able to get the questions that I want and whatever. I do have my link for this in my TikTok bio. I have it in my YouTube. I have it in my Facebook. I have it on my Instagram. So I have thousands and thousands of followers if you combine them all. I have over 3,000 on Facebook. I have I have well over 2,000 followers on Instagram and I have almost 4,000 followers on TikTok. So I'm trying to advertise and get people to check out my podcast. It must be working, but it's just going by slow. But I'm going to keep posting and keep posting and posting and posting, and eventually something will have to give. So I'm going to go, and I'm going to be back on making another episode. I just got to go through my stuff and find out what I'm going to talk about. I think I'm going to bring up Britney Spears, but I'm also going to bring up some of my life experiences with hers, because I think it's only fair that I be honest with my audience and my audience get to know the real me. And just in case like I ever blow up, I wouldn't want the rumor mill popping out, giving away all of my secrets and trying to embarrass me and make me feel like a piece of shit and ruin my name. So I will pull a B rabbit, and I am white. I am a fucking bum. I do live in a trailer with my mom. My boy Future isn't Uncle Tom. I do got a dumb friend named Cheddar Bob that shoots himself in his leg with his own gun. Like, that's what I plan on doing. So anybody, email that. You have any questions? You want to participate? You want to debate something? Write debate in the subject and write your email info and your telephone number, just in case I might need that. It might send a text link. I don't know how it works. So you would leave that and your phone number, and then leave me the question that you are, the thing that you want to debate. And if you want to come on to be a co-host, leave me your email or phone number, and then I will tell you what we will be talking about. And this way you can do your research and study up on stuff, and we can do an episode. It wouldn't be like right after, like you sent me the email the next day, we wouldn't do the episode. I would wait a day. I'd give you about a day or so to research and get yourself comfortable with everything. Then we would do a test run, because they do a testing on here before we just start talking. So we will do a test run, and then we will go from there, and then we'll have our back and forth podcast. And if you have a question, leave the question and I will answer it on the show immediately as soon as I see it. I usually always check my email like the next day after I do a show, but I haven't gotten anything, so, whatever. And I will answer it. And then if you want to debate, give me the topic that you want to debate on, and make sure, and we won't, and the same thing goes for you. I won't have you on until the next day, or the day after the next day. So this way, this gives you time to prepare for what it is that you are trying to debate, and it gives me time to see what you're trying to debate. For the most part, I'm probably won't need much, because I can pretty much come up with it off the top of my head depending on what it is. But certain stuff I might have to write down, or I'd have to look up to make sure it's true what you're saying and everything like that, and verify it. Then we will go on, and then we will go back and forth, and you will tell me your side, I will tell you mine, but there will be no yelling and screaming, and no derogatory names like fuck you bitch, you fucking, none of that stuff. I will completely disconnect you if it gets to that point. So, and if you make me mad enough to a certain point, I will hang up the call. So, all right, this has been a 2-hour episode already, so I'm hanging up. and then I am taking a quick break, and then I'm going to be back